And we should be live. Welcome to Friday. We have a full house today. Lisa Lott's with us. Albin's with us. The annoying sounds are probably coming from Albin, if we're being honest.
What do we need to do?
He's a special boy. And, you know, it's important to give back to the community. No, I'm kidding. Yeah, Albin's great. We're all having a good Friday. I can see my sound might be capping out a bit, so I'm going to just lower the volume a little bit. Let me know if this is okay. Let me know in the chat. Say g'day to us here in sunny Sweden. The snow is melting. It's dreary. It looks like England. In any case, it's nice to see everyone. Hey, Tamsin, Thomas, Shergol, Brian, Solo Spirit, and John from John Games? Oh no, he came to the wrong stream. Yeah.
You came to the wrong
So John,
street.
were your dreams haunted by Benjamin or not? So you can see here, once again, I have the Grant Cabin. The big question is, what's different this time? And I will tell you what's different this time. The parts are actually printable, or mostly printable. Maybe by the end of the day I could have this out as a product. If not, sometime tomorrow perhaps. But considering what we've been up to and what we've been doing, it's kind of insane that we've got this far. I know John is working on the Instead models. Albin has been working on something he's going to show off shortly, which will come out in April. And of course, I'm going to show off what I've been working on because it's coming out next week on the 22nd. And we have a lot to talk about ads for that. So before we do all that, I have my open look tessellation page up here. That's not really what I'm here for. I wanted to just go into... Oh, actually, let's follow the links in the stream. That might be more sensible. If I can find it. Maybe I can't. Alright, what I'm rambling about is my Mini Factory Frontiers campaign. So I'm just going to go over to there. We can take a look at it. I haven't actually looked at it for a few days. We haven't really advertised it. When you have a Frontier up on my Mini Factory, it works a certain way in the sense of... hey, we've got $13,692.30, which is a very odd specific number. But yes, for our Delta, wow, the Secrets of Tixol really is going well for one page rule. In any case, for a little while we were dominating at the top of Frontiers. This was only meant to be a mini campaign. I'm very, very happy with the results so far. We'll see how we can round it out. We're about to hit the milestone of the forked bow. It's already printable. It's ready to go. It's just waiting for you guys to unlock it in $307. And then we're working towards the Cerberus Mark II. Is this all we're going to have? Probably. We'll see. Maybe there'll be one last little thing to get us part of the way there. I do not expect us to hit 20,000, just so you guys know. Prove me wrong. I dare you. I triple dare you. Please just do it. No. So, and of course, I keep doing this thing where I navigate away from the chat, which is always a bright idea. I know this. Here we go. All right. John's greetings here. Hello, special boy Albin. So yeah, this is all a part of February being Second Dynasty month, really. But honestly, we are gearing up for Second Dynasty Day. It is the 22nd of the 2nd, and we have all kinds of cool stuff happening on Thursday. We're going to have a one-day flash sale on my Mini Factory. Still not sure if they can categorically just drop all our prices by 50% or how that's going to work, but the Sleipnir, which is our expand style ship, is going to be available for that one day for the very low price of $22.22 to celebrate Second Dynasty Day. our Transport Delta campaign is ending that day, and we are also releasing the Stalwart Part 2, which is the... Yes, indeed. This is the central body of our 3-part series of a Star Trek style ship. We launched the Saucer last year. This was meant to be much simpler, and John's version, which will be much more like, I guess, what's it called? Like Minecraft. Not really, but it'll be much more blocky. Will come at some point this year. We don't know exactly when. I do kind of have John on other stuff at the moment. So, yeah. And this is launching on Thursday, and we've got a lot to do before Thursday. So the big question is, will this actually hold up? Will it work? And we can answer that question, actually. Come closer. Thank you. All right. So, here is the answer. Yes, it does. So I don't have the airlock in there, but this is currently mated to the saucer. It sits flat on the table. I can show you. I'm putting all the weight where it's supposed to be. This thing looks really good from all these different angles. Like, honestly, just still pictures don't really give it the right sense. There are one or two things I'm patching up. These windows in particular were a real pain in the butt. But if I undock this by just lifting it out, we can see that the body section, I've just got 2 clips in at the moment. We've got some nice detail happening. This is just a prototype that's in 0.2mm layer height. We have the nacelles ready to go next month. So, and then the one thing I haven't done is an actual door for the cargo bay. This little sensor is meant to flip up, although I just found out like 10 minutes before the stream that this is a bit flimsy, so I don't know if I want to... I mean, I'll be replacing this so I can open it up, so enjoy it as it is at the moment. Should have probably taken a picture. And I will see if I can open it without breaking it. Yes, I can. Look at that. So you can have a little window in it instead. Liesl wanted to see. She is quite enamored by this ship, I think we can fairly say. Being the resident Star Trek buff here, I would say. And we did kind of try to go for a little bit more of a Voyager influence with the body of this thing. Then, of course, we can take off the top lid here. So you can see down into the deck below. There's no furniture in there at the moment. You can see a fresh air. Sorry, these angles are very awkward. The camera's really crap. You can see the ladder well. Maybe it's a bit dark. The ladder well down to the deck below. That sort of dark recess there. I think you can just make out a ladder. The door, of course, slides out. This is a variant. You can see there's actually... let's get this in front of my hair so it will focus. Focus on this. You suck. I'm talking to the camera. Yeah. It's kind of hard to make out. There we go. But you can see it's split. So it's meant to go one part vertical, one part down. So a variant on the doors we've had. And then, of course, you can lift off this top deck to see down into the bottom deck. And again, we just have the general layout. You have a cargo bay, the ladder well, and I realized that I need to reprint this piece because the actual sort of the hook mating hole thingies, the female version of what we clip in our partitions with, is just a little misaligned in this version compared to this, so I can't quite put in the new fabricator, we'll call it. This doesn't look great at 0.2. It would look better at 0.12 or something like that, 0.16. But yeah, the interior is left, putting in the controls is left. I'm very happy with how the prototype's looking. This has been a bastard to work on. I do have ideas about what else we could do with this thing. I can show you in Maya in a second. But I will now check the chat to see how many of you have lost your minds at how awesome this is. But no, the really important thing to articulate is that this particular model is part of a special... Let's see, what happened to my... All of a sudden... I don't know why, but I must have hit F11 or something on OBS, because it's now I've lost my start bar on my second screen, which is where my chat is.
There was one who wondered if you would be able to design different saucer sections.
Can I? Technically, yes. Will I? Another question entirely. So honestly, why is that full screen? Let me see. Maybe I need to tab over to it. I've got a lot of different windows open. I promise you, there's nothing really risky here. But I want to get over to the chat. Oh, I went past it. There we go. Okay, it's back. So yeah, OBS was not behaving with me, but now it's back. Let me see the chat. So. Brian asks, so you could design different saucer sections to dock to that hull in? Yes. In my mind, we could almost like take this in the future, scale up the actual hull to like 150%, maybe 200. The question is if that would, tip it forward. I'm not sure it would, because this is quite heavy and we haven't even got the nacelles done yet. So the nacelles are coming on the 1st of March. That's our next month's Tribes offering. Now, for those who have never been on our Tribes, what is a Tribe? It's kind of like a Patreon, only it's like direct on our distribution platform, My Mini Factory. You get a new vehicle every month, and a discount, a few other features and benefits that will be changing soonish. So if you want to get in on what things are like now, now's the time to do it, and especially because we have a free month on offer to anyone that has never tried our Tribes before, which will net you the Stalwart Part 2. Little tip, if you don't have the Stalwart Part 1, the Stalwart Saucer, you can pick it up on sales day, that is on Thursday, for half price. So, free Tribes, carry on next week, you could get this whole shit for about $10. At the moment, when things are all said and done, and I can tell you that this will be retailing for more like 30, because this is like shuttle alpha size or more. Where else could we potentially split the ship? Well, here in the hull, if we took the split there and the split here, so you would actually have to split this up into two parts. You could actually lengthen this part about 2 inches, I'd say, which might be just enough that you could potentially put a little engineering room in there with like a warp core. Maybe make the cargo bay a little less roomy. I do like that we have this little observation area. There's going to be some bed section specifically for in here, or you could have them down here. We've got our moving through the wall there. We have our little replican. We have our control panel there for the engineering station. I still need to look at John's model to see how that's going to attach. But we're pretty close to finished. So I'm seeing, I'm also getting Galaxy Quest vibes. That's not a bad thing, I don't think. Thomas Merrick says, looks great. Thank you, Thomas. Totally Glitch says, I'm curious if we can get a H-looking nacelle like the tail of the OV10. Nacelle variants is something that we could potentially do fairly easily. I don't know if we'll do it as a part of next month. I kind of had a wacky idea of turning one of these nacelles into like a hot rod so that you've got like a little cabin underneath. Like a warp bike, if you will, or something like. I don't know. It's kind of crazy. We'll see, because it does feel like just getting these nacelles as is a little like we need more for that month. Before we get too crazy, maybe Alvin, you want to just show off what you have been up to?
Sure.
This is a little experiment that I said to Alvin, I want to see what you can do completely by yourself. And this is what he's come up with.
Okay, not in front of the mic.
Let me swap places with you, because you're just gonna...
Yes, be in the way. Oh, that's an old leg. So this is the prototype model of a walker tank. And it has a turret, of course, and legs that are posable in different directions. And it can stand on 2 legs, kind of cool, I think. It uses the... Originally, you made that stand for the Maelstrom project. So this is repurposed. So it's going to use a turret that's going to have a... Oh no! I think I worn out the mechanics. It's going to have a posable...
No one was going to notice, but now you drew attention to it.
I'm sorry. So, yeah. Bits and bobs. It's not currently a manned project. It might be later on. I need to do an interior pass in that case. But
we may do an interior variant in the future, but this will be April's tribe's vehicle.
Exactly.
You can say, even though technically I guess it's not a vehicle unless you're a remote operator.
Oh, hello.
But what are we going to have to compensate for the fact that this isn't technically a manned vehicle?
Oh! Give me a second.
Yeah.
Or a few.
I'm giving him a few seconds. Right now I'm just extending my schnoz. So bear with us whilst he returns. Enjoy my Macross posters. They're beautiful.
Beautiful. Where is the...
Hey, what happened to my semiotic poster? Oh, I moved it. It was me.
All along.
Oh, okay. I didn't realize we were...
It was in pieces.
It's in pieces. So, I said to Albin, look, we need something slightly more, because I didn't quite understand how big the thing was. So, actually, in hindsight, we probably didn't need more. But I said to Albin, hey, you know, in The Empire Strikes Back, in the snow battle, how they just have those turret towers. What if we did a version of the turret, and you can see it's actually got a hatch on top. It's kind of hard to see from this angle, and honestly, I think maybe I'll just do this. So there is a hatch there. There was discussion about, you know, doing a manned version or not. Of course, this is compatible with our other turret types. There's 2 different heights. As usual, Albin completely over-designed the fuck out of it.
Sorry.
But I think he was having a good time. Thank you, Albin.
Woo-wee.
Very nice, very nice. Now I just need to alt-tab my way back to seeing the chat again. Where is it? And I'll make sure it isn't the OBS version. So, there we go. Live streaming there. So I can see the chat. Alright. John Games asks, who is this person? How did they get into the Second Dynasty offices? I think you know John, since you broke in here yourself. Totally Glitch says, okay, this is definitely getting printed for the observation area. Love the windows on the Stalwart lower section. Yeah, I tried to make those very Star Trek-y. They're extremely fiddly to get into place, because to get this to print support free is a nightmare. The way I did it was to turn it into a piece that prints like this. It has a little connection there, and then this slots into this. So you kind of like got to put the pieces together, and I still need to print out the final version of this. I forgot to integrate the floor panels, I realized, and the windows. Actually, I previously did not have any clip holes on this side. That's why this has a weird pattern It is a bit open. I don't think the clips are going to look as intrusive when they're installed. But I realized you can kind of see here, I put clip holes in the side here, intending you to clip it into 2 parts, and then realized, well, no, this is all printing as one piece. So that's the nice thing, that this thing is small enough that you can print it as one piece. Let's see. Alpha variant that functions as a dropship for this tank. Oh, of Shuttle Alpha. No, not a bad idea. Eric Anderson says, hello all. Hello, Eric. Good work on the tank and towers. That blasted Samouflage says to Albin, who has already answered. And John, yet again, despite already telling me privately that he hates it, decided to publicly tell everyone that he hates the window. Which I can kind of understand. If he's mass producing it, I'm just going to recommend that he print it solid. So
that's a good point. Everything we make, not everything, but he's going to have to deal with our decisions.
He does, but I mean, it's just a simple case of exporting this with the glass in it, and maybe combining it straight away with this piece. So you really wouldn't have to do too much to do it. It will be slightly less playable than it is right now, but those pieces aren't intended to be removed. So yeah, I just wanted to show this off to talk about what's coming up, because it seems kind of crazy, but you know, maybe it's not so crazy. And the reason why it's not so crazy, if I click on tribes at the moment, I will remind you guys that before we started this campaign, before we had the free trial month for new people, we had 430 people approximately signed up every month on our tribes. Right now, we are in 3rd place for the whole of science fiction with 818 people having joined. I did just update the graphics to, I think early this morning or late last night, I can't remember which. And yeah, it's we also made it so that the new people coming in, because we obviously didn't have the Stalwart ready in time, so we did a repeat of last month's JAS 41 Vampiren, which is of course my vision of what the next Saab Interceptor could look like. But yeah, we've managed to get up to the top page and the front page, and if we can stay there somehow, which we may well do, because even though Cyberstash has a more stable monthly income, I just want to point out something here. Station Forge, I think, is a much larger thing. I don't really know, but I know Papsicles very well. He's a great bloke. He's done a lot of sculpts for me. He has, I think, a lot of his numbers that are boosted by the $1 a month pledge. Obviously Cyberstash has a similar plan. They've both got their $1 a month thing advertised on their tribes. We do not. We start at $5. We vill inte förnedra oss. Yeah, we don't want to humiliate us. There is a value in the products that we make, and we make this Stalwart takes weeks and weeks to design and print. And you know, this will go into our production pipeline as a ship we can sell. I've never done a Star Trek ship before. It should be interesting to see how it goes. And yeah, just every new ship is exciting to work on, and it took me a while to love this design. But I did get into it. But I can tell you what, I am really, really keen to get onto, like, this is a completely new ship, yes. But I want to get on into what we're actually going to focus on this year, which is more alien-themed items. Starting with our version of like a Star Cub, Narcissus shuttle, leading into our large campaign for the year, which is our No Stromo project. Just like we had a Notanante project back in the day for Sleipnir, again, 22 on Thursday. Yeah, that's exciting stuff. And then a thorn in my side for many, many weeks has been figuring out this particular ship. There is one part left, the top roof. We need to figure out how to print this. Other than that, it should be printable now. I'm in the export phase. If we look at my Prusa slicer here, you can see that the main ship, hoping this doesn't crash, it has crashed once before, this particular copy. It came back to life. And it's saying print stability issues, which is not so weird when you've got such small contact points. I might, even though it will print support free, I might put like a support just there just to increase the stability, that sort of thing. But yeah, this vessel is finally getting close to printability. And I thought we would spend the rest of the session working on that because I just want to get it out. It would be nice to have some sort of release. I'm a bit worried I still haven't heard back from Dalton regarding the map update from a year ago that we were talking about doing towards the end of the month, but I'm going to focus on that after the 22nd. Oh, which reminds me, we will have a bit of a change in our streaming schedule because my wife has several race days on Fridays for the next couple of weeks. So we'll be streaming a bit earlier in the week, probably on Thursdays, maybe Wednesdays, because Thursdays I role play and usually try to knock off a bit earlier. So yeah, if I take the top off, we can review the final layout for the cab. And this is like, sorry, we're just going through an autosave there. I'm going to take off the frame here. So if I take off the top, we can see down into the cabin below. I decided to go, we still haven't, like, there's more room if you wanted to add additional details, but I think for this first pass, this is fine. There's a little, honestly, this could be like a cargo storage area or something like that. I don't know, but I just wanted to move on. So we have several different sections. You can kind of see that the steps stick out here. We've just got simplistic walls, I would say. We've got our custom control panels there so that you can, you know, when you're finished your shift, just go down. You've got your little galley with a new custom coffee machine that's more suitable for a vessel of this size. You have your fresher still in the original location. I've removed that, just realizing, no, this is not really necessary. We'll leave it where it is, and also to make it as compatible as possible with the existing designs. So yeah, longer journeys, you're probably not going to be that comfortable. It doesn't have a shower. This is not actually a functional access panel, but we just wanted to put something in there that feels right for the space, and you'll just be able to remove that lid. We might need to add like sorry, we might need to add something just to the top that looks like some kind of, I don't know, like maybe if we just quickly go and offset this a little, I'm going to scale that in, might go down a tad, minus 0.15 I think it is. We'll call it minus 2.2. Whoops, minus 0.2. And then I'm going to go out here, going up. Maybe not that much, but actually this is way too big. Let me just let's scale this down to something like that. Something like that. And then it sounds like there's something good in the chat.
Yeah, it's John.
Is he being silly?
It's proclamating his love for you and suggests that we make a game showing off the Second Dynasty ships, and you should make one like Star Fox. That would be kind of trippy.
That wouldn't be my first choice at all, but that sounds good, John. You get on that. So why did I just make this little thing? Because I realized we might need a handle to sort of lift off this thing. I'll leave an aesthetic choice, so if you want the, full cover, we'll just leave it as it is, with the export as it is. And we'll do a version like this where you can basically just grab onto this thing to sort of lift it off to see down below. So not necessarily my choice of aesthetics, but something that's a little bit practical. We might even just put a few loops in here, something like that, and maybe a loop here. And basically what we would like to do with that then is bring this back to match around here. Sorry, I saw a need here and I thought I would try and do something about it. So I'm just gonna squeeze, I think we just squeezed the back end here. So not really my favorite. We should actually probably turn this into a proper gap. So I'm just gonna cut here. Let's see. And then we'll pinch this in. And we may as well move this just a tad forward. Oops, we don't need it to be snapping. And we'll recreate some geometry here to fill in the gap. And basically this will create just something tactile to sort of like get your fingers caught on. So yeah, not really aesthetically pleasing or anything, but you could certainly grab onto that, I think, and lift it off without too much trouble. It will be a fairly tight fit as it is right now. This first version too, like when I say first version, I'm not saying I'll do a second version, but it was taking too much time, so this piece will be an exception to our rule. It will require some supports in those window frames. The only other option would be if we split this hull in half, took the wings off and had them plug in. It's entirely possible, but I just want to move on at this point, and I think in most cases, people don't really have that much of an issue putting some tree supports in just one area, considering the fact that everything else prints pretty much support free. Yeah, I don't think many people will complain. So let's see. DUK Peter Quinn, welcome. I haven't seen your name around before. The internal cargo observation overlook is very cool. Thank you. Totally Glitch says, I'm looking forward to printing those windows in place using a tool changer, like clear windows. And Jeff Jedi says, surely no one else has this level of fan interaction. I don't know. Certainly at this scale, because there's not, we've definitely had a lot more viewers than we used to have. We had 10 last year on average, something like that. And now we have 20 plus.
Nice.
Which is a great little improvement. But yeah, we do need to make some changes to the basic formula here. I'm wondering if we can get that little curve back in by printing this piece. I can't remember which side it prints on. It looks like it prints on this side, so maybe not. Yeah, that's not possible. So it's a compromise. I don't like it. It does have this little curve in it. Maybe the best solution is to take that curve out, because we don't have one in this corner either, and just go with accepting the idea that this isn't a perfect imitation of the version that we would expect to see from a Grant cab. I'm saying Grant the English way because it sounds fancier.
What does that mean?
Hugh Grant.
It's a name.
It's a name.
I see.
A first name and a last name.
Grant. Poor boss.
Kind of like Craig David. People with first names for first and second names, it's
Yeah.
I don't know how I feel about that. Anyway, these are not things we should concern ourselves with. We need to make this lid, and ideally we need to make this lid within 25 minutes. If anyone's got any questions about the sale, about when this is coming out, what our plans are for the near future, let us know in the chat. Please do keep asking questions. Albin will laugh at your questions, if nothing else. And we will get to it. So I need to kind of look and see what we've actually got to work with here. So basically we made the interior work up to this point. I feel like there's a good chance that this no longer is completely aligned. Let's see. So this comes all the way to there. That actually looks like it's fine. This will... I guess we need to keep this as one piece. So essentially we're just going to integrate this and this. Do we need a new ring for this, or can we get away with adding that to that? I think the main issue is it's conflicting with this ladder. I mean, NetFab fixes everything. Not really, but...
Have you noticed that they changed the name?
Yeah, it's just like a Windows tool now. So.
Yeah.
Yes, I have noticed that. But I need to look at and see... We need to cut this piece because it is intersecting. And this should just technically be as simple as... No, I'm not going to use booleans. You monster. No, I'm going to be much lazier than a boolean. And actually this will repair itself much quicker. So I'm just going to take one loop here, making sure that it hasn't disappeared on this side. It actually has, so we need to grab that there, and we'll grab... I just want to look for the edge that is furthest down. Delete this, and we're just going to simply bridge this and bridge this, and then we're just going to do a fill. So this is like the bare basics. It does intersect with this object, but this is a case of when we export this and use the tools to fix it, this will just get combined into one single STL file. This is one of the exceptions. It is lazy modeling. It's not perfect, but it does the job. And shortcuts like this in the end, this used to be a problem in the old days. It's not anymore. So I think we can safely implement that. The question is, do we want to grab this in the same way, or do we want to integrate it with this?
There was a question actually, because I assume it's about this section concerning the door.
Okay.
Is that door intended to slide up into the roof? If so, that's very slick.
Yes, it does. It works like so.
Yeah, it's really cool to when you use the actual model, the physical model.
Yep. It is indeed, Albin.
Yeah.
So yeah, we're just going to return this to its previous state of being squared off. In an ideal world, it would be rounded. I'd prefer it to be rounded. I'm wondering too if we should just get rid of the ladder and accept that this piece needs printing by itself. Technically, I wasn't going to change it. And especially now, considering the fact that we haven't changed the door, I need to look and check. I mean, we should ideally be using John's version, which I don't have loaded in this scene, but if I look at like the base version here, that's basically identical. So there is something that speaks to the idea of just having this hemisphere booleaned open. Or, you know, just vaguely covering this section. I don't know, it's a bit of a pain in the butt, to be honest. We could just export this intersected with the other model because it's not, there's no gaps. After sort of closing this, but again, I would need John's master version. No, I'm not using any of your versions. I haven't got them loaded into the scene.
Oh.
Because the intention was to not change that part, but I've just realized this back part might need changing. I'm not sure. I haven't really looked at it. So, there's another method of doing booleans called fast booleans that do it that way instead of trying to be accurate. I'm sure that is more a Blender feature for some reason. Something tells me that. So we need to close this gap off. The easiest way to do that is to actually take this object, duplicate it, and we're just going to grab the faces that we're talking about. So these ones. We'll invert the selection, delete it, and invert the facing on this. And then we're going to merge it. And actually what we could probably do is take these sections as well. So I'm just going to repeat the process, the same sort of thing. It's messy, it's unattractive, but it gets the job done. So mesh combine.
Sounds like
Whenever you say sounds like and then ... it doesn't seem like it was. It seems like maybe it wasn't fit for YouTube. So let me select these, and I'm just going to do a very basic extrusion. We're going to move the pivot point using our vertex snap back to the start there, and we're just going to extrude it this way. And then, like, we're kind of stuck in this situation where we need to extrude out again. And in this case, it's not ideal, but we're just going to select all of these faces, extrude it out by, I think, I want to say 0.3 millimeters. Yeah, that's it. And then what we can actually do is use the rest of the pieces as a guideline. So we could, for example, take these, and we should technically just be able to push that to there, and it should align relatively well. And we actually could move these to the original position. Now, I'm not saying we'll leave it there, but whoops, I accidentally turned on the base default shader. So we're just going to close the gaps, and then we'll figure out after test printing if we need to create some tolerance here or not. Hopefully we can survive with intolerance. Maybe not, but yeah, ideally when you have these kind of angles, you want to have like not like a dead-on cut straight in. You want to have an angle so that the light leakage is limited. So just one of those things you need to think about when you're designing for physical printing. Let's see. I just noticed you aren't using any of my versions. That was old. I would try not to cover the whole ladder. The frame station would still look good. It's totally glitchy. Are you referring to this ship, or are you referring to the other one? Hello, Maxim. Seen that name before. Long time back, I believe. Your moving parts are on point these days. So much advancement since the earlier ships. Oh yeah, big change since the early days. This should be the same, so I think we should be able to copy and paste this over. So the other thing too is like we need to look and see what kind of room this needs. right now that's going to knock into the moving door, I think. Yeah. So we definitely want to halve this thing. Sorry, my nose has been super itchy today. So this is going to feel so good to get out. I feel like I've been stuck on this one for almost a month. And sometimes it's not because you don't like the design or you're not excited by the design, but just like, you know, it's going to be such a mechanical headache to get printing support free. And I know this is partially my own pet peeve about wanting it to be support free. But I think the results speak for themselves ultimately. So we have a couple of issues here we need to look into. I think this is easily solved though by just getting this side to match to the other side. Now we can't do that because they are actually a little bit offset. So I'm just going to do a cheat here. I think it'll look good anyway. I'm just going to go grab that. Move the pivot point to this little rogue vertex and move it up there. And we're just checking it against each other. That looks fine as a gap to me. And I'm probably a bit more discerning of my own work. Maybe I could build ships much faster if I wasn't focused like that. I'm just going to check and see this piece in particular. Can it be 100% mirrored? I think so. I'm going to duplicate this object, which after the autosave is finished, I will do so. There we go. The pivot point needs to be centered and aligned, so I'm just going to move it to the middle somewhere. It doesn't really matter. I want to zero my settings over here for the translations and everything with the freeze transformations. It's not necessary here, but I'm just going to duplicate this, Control D in my and we're just going to move it aside. And then we're going to take this existing version here, and rather than copying and pasting bits and pieces, we're just going to take out the middle here. We'll take out this black line. And there, and we should be able to delete that, and hopefully, no, we need to isolate that and get rid of the part on the inside here. So we take that out, and we delete, and then what we should be able to do is, wait, why is there a third copy? We don't need that. So now what we're going to do is delete the history, and we're going to go Control Shift D, and by default this should actually have done a duplicate special process with an instance. So if we see the settings here, it's set to instance, which means it just, whatever you do on the first mesh, it repeats on the second mesh. So it's like a live type object. I haven't done like the simple stuff for a while. Sorry, we want to mirror that in the X orientation. So now you can see if I select one of these polygons, the opposite side is highlighted. So this works great when you've got some mirrored stuff, although this will also break when we start integrating these objects together. So again, the top is going to be in two sections here. The real question is, where do we split this all? So let's see. Totally Glitch says the comment was the tubes with the cones on either ends. Okay, the parts towards the back will be moved slightly forward. Jeff Jedi says make a nice ship. I thought that's what I was doing. Totally Glitch says make it one less part to edit. Michael Tenery says sometimes we have to add brims anyway. However, your files are generally perfect for supportless prints on any decent printer. See, supportless with individual objects is the kind of level I'm accepting. If you've got a build plate, of course you're going to need brims on some objects. I use them myself. That's why the Stalwart is not, absolutely perfect. You can kind of see to some of the gaps I'm filling. And actually, if I just very temporarily go back to the Stalwart scene, you can see this little panel that I put in is actually to help with some of those gaps. And I need another one, I think here, if I'm not mistaken, is where we want to put it. Actually there, it seems. So that's going to need some kind of adjustment. Weird artifact that keeps popping up, and I don't know why. A little dot, but yeah, here I guess the this clip hole is a bit too close to the edge, and that would be here. So we probably want to have some kind of additional hull plating sensor, something that's going to stick out there and prevent that gap from occurring during prints. Mind you, again, we test printed it at 0.2. Alright. Is it okay to have n-gons and triangles? Ye asked. Yes, it is. This is one of those things that's kind of a carryover. The only time where you really truly need quads is when you're going to subdivide. In our case, that's almost never. But we do, for example, I would have started this cylinder with less detail than it currently has. You're kind of finding a nice compromise of how much you're going to have a cylinder chamfer, because it'll never be perfectly smooth in Maya or another polygonal modeling suite. So there's also always going to be like some degree of chamfering occurring. By chamfering, I mean like where you notice the edges in the circle, or cylinder rather. So even if you look at a modern airplane, if you look close enough, you can kind of see where this is occurring to some degree. So, you know, especially older airplanes, it was very obvious, right? So yeah, as far as the triangles and n-gons go, okay, an n-gon is acceptable if the slicer can break it down into triangles in such a way that it doesn't end up in unusual patterns. So if I just turn on my grid real quick, I can demonstrate this. I think I've done it before in the past, but not for a long time. So I've got my grid here, so it's probably a little hard to see. But if I create an n-gon now, I'm just going to snap a new polygon to my grid. So that is an n-gon here in the shape of like a Tetris piece, you might say. So this is something that will create an issue with certain slices, because when you are exporting to STL anyway, it is triangulating everything. So for STL files, triangles are perfectly fine. N-gons need to get split up into into triangles. And what the issue then becomes is how your exporting program handles dividing up this into individual polygons, or rather triangles. So right now, for example, we have 6 different edges. If I triangulate this, we get, you know, a solution here, and that's fine. But certain slices might try to do something wacky, like go from this corner to this corner, which, you know, Maya's not even letting me do at the moment. So if you have an n-gon where the way that it figures out how to divide up this polygon can never really be bad, like you don't have an inner corner like this, like, so for example, say that this was actually just this shaped. No matter how this breaks this down into triangles, it's not going to affect the shape. This is on a flat plane at the moment. So there are circumstances when n-gons are acceptable. There are circumstances where you want to avoid them. I avoid booleans, traditional booleans, because they create a ton of n-gons, and you don't always have control, and it can end up with these little artifacts in your mesh that you want to get rid of. Of course, things have caught up a lot compared to the past, so I just wanted to check my print. I think it's just finished with the new of course, adapting the saucer section. We needed to redo some of the interior here, and actually if I turn off that, we can see the new airlock. Obviously, because we needed to have clip holes to mate the saucer to the drive section. So yeah, that just got finished printing. And yeah, so I hope that answers your question. Like, when you're doing characters and that sort of thing, it's much easier to try. There will be places where a triangle or an n-gon are acceptable, but you want to put them in places where no one's looking. Like, so for example, in the armpit or in the crotch, or the sort of areas where a five-sided polygon or something like that isn't going to be as noticeable, and it will divide weirdly with subdivisions. So when you want to increase the fidelity of a mesh, that's what subdividing is. In our case, we're subdividing before we do things like take out windows and that sort of thing. So we're not planning to make this more advanced. So now the n-gons only matter in the sense of how will this export to STL to a format that you can have 3D printing for. Yeah, he says thanks. Awesome. So yeah, we need to continue making this printable. And I think our next step is maybe to slice this particular object up a little. I'm inclined to follow the natural sort of like lines of this, I guess, hemisphere, splitting it up even further. So we just want to take the lines far enough down, like here and say there. Is that actually perfectly half? Got to be pretty close. I'm just going to select along here, expand the selection, delete that, and then delete the bottom part. Oops. Looks like I accidentally took out some additional faces here. I'm not sure when I did that. Okay, right at the beginning. Great. Don't have to backtrack at all. Whoa, what?
Kind of an interesting question.
Okay.
P1S coming in the mail tomorrow. Which ship should be my first project? From Jeff Jedi.
Oh, all the ships is my answer. And you can get yours in the sale that's coming out on the 22nd. 50% off all store items. Not Frontiers. I would say, like, some of our tribes offerings are like great, prints that you can get out in under a day, especially on a P1S. We've got a P1P. I think the P1S is slightly better. I think that has multi-rolls or something like that. I don't know. John knows. John's the one that buys Chinese things for us and then charges us money, so I don't have to pay the CCP, and that makes it okay to sleep at night. Of course, he's morally compromised, which is ironic because he's probably actually technically a lot more moral. Alright, so I think too, what we'll do is duplicate this object, and we'll just grab some of these polygons to sort of steal. Actually, we'll just grab those ones. So we're very much like Frankensteining this, and again, like if we combine this and this together, so let's go mesh, combine. What you'll notice is when we come back out, the other half has disappeared, and that's because combining objects breaks an instance of an object. So, and you can have many instances. That's a great way, for example, if you're working on an iris door, you could just do one of the iris. So an iris door, it's like a camera lens, right? So you just work on one of the little sort of teeth, and you sort of could instance that around in a circle so it's the right size, and then just work on one piece and all of the pieces will be affected. So it is a nice little tool when you want to mirror something, for example, or if you want to see how it will align with other parts. So let's just flip that. I'm going to continue on with this piece until it's done, even though we normally finish it around this time. I'm not in a great rush to be off at the moment. Of course, it is the weekend, starting soon. But I know I've got a good amount of beer in the fridge waiting for me. I think having this done will make me feel like I've earned it. I might have to spend some of my Saturday packaging this. We do have a lot of stuff. I know I owe graphics to my mini factory for next week, so I'm running a bit behind with that. I'm sure there's something else I'm forgetting about. But yeah, we'll continue on with this. And that's the other thing too. When you have separate objects that you've combined together, I try to keep them so that the vertexes aren't actually hitting into each other. Just got to double check that's actually on the same plane. Look at that, see? It's not quite. There's a little overhang there. So we kind of need to look at this on our grid and see how that's aligned. Because that's worrying me a little bit. We want it to be along this line, right? You have to get in very, very close to see where things are going wrong. And it looks like it's actually the outer edge here that's the problem. So just making sure my snapping's left on. I'm gonna grab all that. Technically, there's no super great way of doing this. So I'm just gonna grab all of these. Sorry, grabbed a little too many vertexes. And then what I'm going to do is make sure that the pivot point is just on the grid line. So I'm going to make sure the snapping is set to grid, move this in, and then I'm going to do the old scale trick. So the scaling tool is not just for scaling whole objects. You can scale vertex points, you can scale polygons, and the tool itself, you can choose to scale in just one direction if you're on one of your orthographic views, as we are now. So if I scale in the, I think it's kind of hard to see down there, but it would be, so the yellow would represent the, I can't even read that, it's the Z axis. So we're just gonna, we're just gonna move this as far as it will go, and at a certain point it just goes from, like, if you think about how a let's see, if we look at Maya, and this might not be the best resolution for you guys, I don't know, but if we look at the scale of an object over here, it's represented as a 1. So 0 would be 0%, 1 would be 100%. 0 means it's flat, right? So essentially what we've done is taken those vertexes and made them flat against the plane. But if they're out of a line where your position for 0 is, they all get scaled back down on that plane in particular. So that's how we solve that issue. So it's evenly sliced the whole way through. Because we need that to be flat for when we're printing it. And actually these little bulbs sticking out will help tremendously with stability issues. So we just want to make sure we continue to align these vertexes here. A bit more of a Maya or polygonal modeling lesson today. Again, I say this all the time when I'm talking about it, there's not just one right or wrong way to do 3D modeling. Also, if you're merging vertexes and you do have multiple objects in one mesh and you want to preserve those objects as being separate, like for example, right now if I double click this, it highlights the object by itself. If we had aligned this, so let's say we get that to share vertexes, and this is what I'm talking about, we don't want them to be joined together, because when I do a vertex merge and I try to select this, all of a sudden I've selected the whole mesh, right? So you need to be careful with that stuff. So one way to do that, I'm just going to go back and move this. So now it's separate again, right? We go to face selection, separate. So yeah, one way to guarantee that you don't accidentally do that is to just select the parts of the mesh that you do want to merge and then isolate them by themselves before you do the merge. That way guaranteeing you're not taking parts you shouldn't be with you. And I can see here from this sort of like slightly thicker line there that we actually have a gap. Like if I went into say our pen to polygon tool, which will add additional faces. If I select a face over here, see how this is turned purple? So that says to me that that's not actually aligned properly. And that's kind of obvious too, because like here we have a 4-sided polygon, here we have 2 polygons. So we just join these together, making sure they're actually all aligned. There's some other vertexes we need to change. Probably issues on this end too. No. So now if we go merge vertexes, you see that thick line has disappeared. So again, these are small things that we can do to fix the mesh, to make sure we don't have too many gaps or that sort of thing. Again, the exporting itself of the scene to STL and then running that STL through NetFab or the Windows tool, whatever it's called, should close off these gaps. But if there's like something hidden in your mesh that you're not aware of, it can create some weird artifact. So it's good to kind of have this and be mindful of it when you're actually modeling, rather than completely relying on the tool. The reason I can rely on the tool is because I already know where the issues are likely to pop up and also how to recognize it if they do pop up. So once you get comfortable with the tools, I think you should be good. But yeah, so let's close this off. I haven't been reading the chat too much. Let's see. Jeff Jedi says, "Oh, I'll do the delta pod." Actually, that's a great one. That's perfect. Yeah, all of those suggestions Shergol made, like I would say maybe you can print the launch in a day. The gig, I don't think is a good... the 30-ton gig? Yeah, that's not a good candidate because that was someone Craig Pay did. I don't think it has build plates. If you do the delta pod, you can literally just dump it into Orca Slicer and get going. Honestly, I've been pleasantly surprised how good the Bamboo is in all aspects. So, yeah, thanks, John, for making me get Chinese stuff. And actually, it kind of did challenge my most Chinese stuff is crap point of view. So, I don't know. What's to bet they all studied in Western universities? Just saying. Oh my god. Anyway, and just to be clear, I have nothing against people from China, but if you support any Chinese companies, you're supporting what their government does. So there are absolutely 0 companies in China that I think they're required by law to have like a board place for CCP party members.
Mm-hmm.
So they're all in bed with the devil. Just as the same as I wouldn't buy Israeli stuff at the moment, and that doesn't make me anti-Semitic, it just means I don't want to support war crimes. Anyway, the bigger racist thing would be to actually lump all people in with their governments. Alrighty. So yeah, we're just closing this off. I'll probably just extrude back these parts, and I think, once we get this part printable, the very last part I'll just do in the last hour by myself off stream. Let's see, I don't think there's anything controversial going on. Governments are made of people after all. Yes, absolutely. But not all people get to choose their governments. Not much of a choice if you have one choice. I don't know, maybe we're all operating under the illusion of having choice anyway, although Sweden is supposed to be one of the most democratic countries on the planet, so... I think we're pretty good here, even if you could whinge about some things. Certainly better than Australia. Tell you that. We don't have any Murdoch press here.
Oh yeah. It's scary that it's called Murdoch as well.
Yeah, it sounds sinister, doesn't it?
Yeah.
And then on the other end it's like Rupert, which sounds...
silly.
Yes. And I just got cancelled.
Dun, dun, dun. cancel Fridays with Second Dynasty.
It'll be Third Dynasty if I get cancelled. We just started a new company. Yeah, so maybe it's not the best thing to project opinions in public forums. I don't know.
At the same time, I mean, someone has to say something.
Wow.
I'm glad it's you and not me.
I don't think I'll be changing anything. In any case, I think it's been really nice today to have the whole team here. It does feel nice. It feels like we're not quite there, but spring we're on the right side of spring at the moment. It's coming soon. The days are getting lighter.
Yeah.
You know, right now it's starting to get dark, but you know, a couple of weeks ago it was full dark. So
Or grimdark. If you play.
grimdark, no. I mean, things are bad in the world, but they're not 40k bad. Alrighty. John says, I advocate only for Benjamin. I also can't be cancelled because anyone who speaks out about it vanishes.
Oh, that's convenient.
Jeff Jodi says, it looks like an outrageous amount of work to make a ship. I mean, Beowulf took me 8 months. It's sometimes I get people who are like, oh, I have a ship idea. Do you take commissions? And I'm just like, I mean, the short answer is no. The long answer is technically possible, but no. And the answer to that is because my answer is usually, well, do you have $30,000? Or whatever, you know, I might actually need to survive for the period of time to design something. But then, even then, it doesn't work out. Because one of the reasons why I can make this business work is because I get to sell the designs I make. And if it's a commission, I don't get to sell the designs I make. So that is more of an issue. It takes... Sorry, I just saw that I accidentally deleted this vertex and I'm a bit annoyed. Yeah, it takes a lot of work, and I mean, even the early ships... Why can't these be deleted? That makes no sense. Alright, I'll just try a vertex merge instead. Maya is buggy, and it's always going to be buggy because Autodesk realized long ago that they could just coast on their laurels. If I was starting out today, I would not learn Maya at all. I would learn Blender. The only reason we haven't switched is pure laziness. And the fact that whilst it would be cheaper for us in the long run to employ, we might need a clip or something in there actually, I don't know, we'll see. It will technically just rest in place, so I might try test printing it like that and see how we go. Yeah, I feel like we've got some kind of mesh issue here. Yeah, look at this. See that? Someone did an extrusion at some point, and by someone I mean I must have. Oh no, these are artifacts left over from the fact that I sliced this by the grid, and sometimes it just creates additional polygons that you don't expect to be there. So, and you can see here actually that we have some issues left. So actually, if we just select along here, take out this last vertex here, because if we delete that, that corner's coming off. So if I just smooth this again and hit delete, yeah, it kind of fixed the misalignments here. So let's see if this will work. No, there's one more polygon. Right, that looks good. Now we should be able to bridge this gap again. So sometimes I use mesh smooth, not because I want to smooth the mesh, but because it helps me see where the defects are in the mesh. And mind you, for most polygonal modeling, you'll never see this. Like it'll often just be the artists that can even see this stuff in the first place. We have a great word in Swedish called arbetsskadad, which at least in our animation VFX sort of industry, we mean to say when we watch a film, we can't really just enjoy the special effects. We notice, if something's got poor grading or, the animation's janky or that sort of thing, a lot more than people who don't have those sorts of experiences. And I think the worst offenders probably actually editors more than animators. Heading off? Lisa still camera shy. So yeah, all we need to tie this off is a little bit more work. Let's see. Shergirl says, Beowulf is my next big endeavor, trying to completely finish the Scout first. Beowulf has one or two things that I do differently, but I can't imagine revisiting it soon. John asks, Albin, hey Albin, when I come back we should go to the pizza buffet.
Ooh, yeah.
Don't tell Ben or anyone else. I don't want witnesses. Oh, he's trying to replace you again.
Ah, with pizza.
Brian says, in my office, we need to use the software that other architect and engineering offices use, so we're not getting away from Autodesk unless everyone else migrates at the same time. Obviously, I'm coming from animation, not from CAD, which is a different discipline. If you're not familiar with 3D, CAD is, stands for computer aided design. It is what architects use. It's what, product designers normally use for creating physical products. Whereas animation, Maya's still great for animation, certain kinds of animations, and I would say it's better than Blender. At some of those things, it's better at simulations than Blender is. But just general polygonal modeling and rendering, all of that sort of stuff, you can easily do it in Blender these days. It's free, it's open source, it's actively innovating. Maya is one of those pieces of software that Autodesk just bought out and continues to charge more and more money for every year, putting out bullshit bloat patches to justify why they have to increase the pricing, 10% each year over year. And then at the same time, they've moved it over to a subscription service. Now we run Maya Indie, and I can tell you we would be on Blender straight away if we had to pay full price. I've done it before, and it's just ridiculous for what we're using it for. And that's not to say that Maya isn't a robust piece of software, but it is buggy as fuck. And I don't want to see new tools. I just want to see them fixing bugs that have been in Maya for 20 years. Maya came out, I think, in 1998. The first version. I think it was Alias. I'm not sure. At the time, I was using 3D Studio. That's what became Max. It wasn't called that at the time. So I'm just going to make sure that this isn't conflicting. It is a bit ugly, but this is on the inside. We're not going to see it. It's ugly on the inside, yeah. But beautiful on the outside.
Yes.
So... Hej då, Liselott.
Hej då, roligt att se dig.
Hej då means goodbye. Trevlig helg. And trevlig helg means have a nice weekend. I think that's some of the more exotic words in Swedish, because a lot of words are adjacent to English at least. Alright, mesh. Combine, and then we're just going to merge those vertexes in the middle. And I think straight away, let's see, oh, this is designed to print flat like so. I think that doesn't actually change anything. So I think we're good. There is here a little gap we need to fix. A couple of gaps actually. So what I might do is just rebuild this. Technically, it would have been better for me to have done this before we mirrored the other side, but we're here now. And, you know, I don't... Oh, wait, this does matter, doesn't it? Actually, I'm going to go back. Actually, I'm going to go back as far as combining these objects, just hoping this doesn't crash. If you Control Z too quickly, Maya tends to crash, so just tapping it like I've been doing, I'm sure you can hear it on my mechanical keyboard, that's a safer bet if you want to avoid issues. So I think instead of doing this, what I'm actually going to do is go and merge the vertexes here. So I'm just going to go merge vertexes, target world tool, and then I realize that doesn't work. I need to select these, press G, and then I'm just going to merge that to there, that to there, that to there. Hopefully now I can triangulate this, and we should get a triangle there, yes. And if I select this, oh, that's interesting. Why are not all three edges being selected? If I press 3, ooh, that's a quad somehow. What is that? Maybe we just need to merge these? Nope, still an issue. Okay. So maybe we do rebuild this after all, but let's see how that looks. Why is that going all the way back into there? That looks nuts. So I can't select around here, which indicates to me that we have some issues. So if I just select, if I delete that, I delete that. Oh, okay, look, this is our issue. We have this face that was carried over that shouldn't have been there. So if we go back to where we were with the triangle, and we go to the inside here and we delete this face, we should be able to address the issue. So actually, the fact that I didn't select all three sides there was the giveaway. We do a fill hole. And now that should have repeated itself on the opposite side. No, it didn't. So this is not... Oh, we didn't do a instance clone before. That's why. So we're just going to delete the history. Control D, because we don't need a proper clone. We're going to go -1 in the X. We're going to freeze the transformations. I'm using shortcuts here, by the way, too. All of these tools are searchable. And we're just going to merge the vertexes. So once again, we've now got a solid object. We don't have that hole. It is a bit messy over here. But again, I don't think it's going to impact this. So now we just go history. And we'll double check that this looks alright from the inside. I think technically what we could have done here is actually, you know what? Let's do that. Let's grab all of these. Really going over today. I don't know if you guys are writing in the chat, or I haven't been looking for a few minutes. I'm just going to grab all of this, and I'm actually just going to move this so that it is aligned with there. So hopefully we've got all of this ready to go. We snap it to like there. What I've done is create this overhang, but it's at an angle, so it's not a true overhang. And actually, I think we can be cheeky with this and actually go up even further, because there's no glass or anything under this that we need to support. And now we can print it flat like so, and I think honestly just with these little bulbous areas sticking out, that's going to give us a bit more traction than if we printed from the other side. So again, we're still going to need some supports in these windows. It's just a compromise we have to do for the Grant engine. Sorry, for the cab. One last piece that we need to make solid. I'll be doing that momentarily, but off camera. I'd like to thank you guys today for being with us. Really appreciate all 25 of you in the chat at the moment. Next week, we may have some different planning. Again, just to reiterate, we do have our campaign still live on Frontiers. Check out the link below. Like, subscribe if you like what we do. And just to sort of give us the thumbs up. It is most appreciated. And yeah, we're going to have a happy weekend. We hope you do the same thing. We'll be back at it on Monday, gearing up for our awesome sale coming on the 22nd. That is next Thursday, or rather on Thursday, I guess, at this point. All day, 24 hours only, 50% off our My Mini Factory store. Keep an eye out on our social media. I'm sure we will put something up. You pledge. Thank you, Jeff Jedi. You are awesome. All right, bye guys.